sooner the better. Top to bottom.
Yes, that is exactly what should be done. But you must give me some time, please, Hammy.
Time for what? Just kill the rats. Do you understand? Kill those rats. I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. You want answers? I think I'm in trouble. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Welcome to another episode of The Outsiders. I'm your host, Sean Sims, and we are chock full of goodies today. Tell your friends, send them the podcast, say get your popcorn ready, get your soda pop, if you have a little beer, that's your thing, because this episode of The Outsiders, we are going to deep dive into some heavy duty doo-doo being put out. Heavy duty doo-doo. I want to thank my the Twitter people. I'm on X, Twitter, you know, whatever you want to call it. And the Wes Moore story, scathing report. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And we're going to go over this war. You want a war? Huh? You want a war? Then you got one. And that's what's going on. And this Twitter post that I put 164,000 people. And it has to do with that scathing audit report of another one of Wes Moore state agencies. Here we go again. You got the SNAP thing, and then you got $1.1 million unaccounted for registered wills for Baltimore City, which is a state agency. And another state agency, the Circuit Court for Baltimore City, scathing audit, another one. So you got smiley face here, Wes Moore. He just a grinning and smiling. Went through $5.5 billion. Just like that. Looking like Gazoo. Just like that. Gazoo just went right through it. Used car salesman. And now we got almost $2 billion deficit in the state of Maryland. And they thinking about running this clown as president? What are you people on, crack? Are you serious? You thinking of running this guy as president? Anyway, I want to thank my Twitter people for coming through and checking out the interview. Now I want to let's get right down into it. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Oh, and also, I digress. I'm going to be covering, coming right up after this, Minnesota. Maryland is the next minute. Maryland is Minnesota. It may not be the Somalis, but the grifting is incredible. So you're going to see Governor Tim Walz getting grilled by Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan was a wrestler. Okay, and then we got Mark Mullen coming in, possibly. Kristi Noem is moving into another position, something to do with the Western Hemisphere. They're saying she was fired, but I've never, if you're fired, you're gone. You're not reassigned, but they want to skew it that way. So Mark Mullen was former MMA. So we got the real men getting involved in Governor Minnesota. The Somali scandal, millions and millions and millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's on Capitol Hill. And we're going to see what happened there as well. So I want to get to what transpired this past Friday, February the 27th. This Friday, February the 27th, prior to that, I was asked by Gordon Douglas, Pimp Daddy, come on my show. I'm gonna have the Conaways on the show, and you can come on and you can ask them the question you want to ask them when I bring them on. Okay, Carlton. So I called in to ask the pertinent questions because I'm a media personality. I do some investigative journalism, and I figured let me call in because this audit report came out and it's, I'm going to go over it, it's scathing on the circuit court, the clerk's office. So let me go ahead and play this, and I'm going to let you all know, my opinion and give you analysis of this interview. Here we go. Now, for people who haven't seen this before, I'm going to let you know, this is WOLB 1010 AM, the Frank Conaway Senior Show, and the host is Carlton Douglas, and he has two guests on his show, the clerk of the circuit court for Baltimore City, Xavier Conaway, and the Register of Wills, Belinda Conaway, and you will hear that I'm a professional. I'm a consummate professional, and I conduct my questions in a professional manner, but you'll hear how they come off the carts, and they just lose it. Okay. First, let's stop right there. Why this child, because to me he's a child, why this child would say that I am a big fan of his? Now, I'm conducting an interview through a call-in, so I have to be professional. But I'm thinking to myself, did this boy, BB Brain, just tell people that I am a big fan of his? When he told me, this is transparency, and transparency will come up later, when he told me, when we first talked, it was a few years back when he first got in the office, that Mr. Sims, your reputation precedes you. So he was a fan of mine. But no, you know what? Let's continue. But I have to get that out because I thought that was quite amusing that this kid is just slightly delusional if he thinks I'm a fan of his.
This is the best audit we've had in the past over 10 years.
First of all, let's get this straight. They haven't had an audit, and this is called an internal audit. That's supposed to be done by the state internally. Not Office of Legislative Audits coming in to do an audit. No. The AOC, the Administrative Office of the Courts, is supposed to conduct audits. And they haven't done one in 5 years. They still haven't. This is just because information went out from me regarding some possible issues. And I'll go over what issues they found. And they proceeded to do the audit. Okay, let's go on.
They actually removed one of the findings that was on the clerk's office's legislative audits dating back to 2011. So our office and our team have worked incredibly hard to modernize, to increase the efficiency of the office. And one of the things that I'm glad we had, because I know.
Now let's get into this. Working hard to increase the efficiencies and all this other stuff. I put in a request, MPIA, Maryland Public Information Act request, to find out how hard actually are your employees, or were your employees working to set up the MDEC. Because you had your employees removing fees, overcharged fees, that the mayor's office and the Baltimore City Council, fees that they were overcharged. So you had people for years removing these fees. How much money did the city of Baltimore spend, were overcharged, that are owed to the city because the circuit court overcharged them? So that's how you had them working really hard.
You come on the show before and made claims that there were fraud, some abuse of some sorts of fiscal malfeasance, but
Now, what I came on and I said is that there are allegations that there's fiscal malfeasance. There are allegations that are still there. They're still out there. There are allegations. They're in lawsuits. Allegations of fiscal malfeasance. So the claims I made were regarding allegations of fiscal malfeasance, possible fraud, in the clerk's office because of a cover-up, the allegations of these fees that were overcharged. So let's get it clear. Let's set the record straight.
I have the audit right in front of me, and I wanted to ask you if I can, is there any reference and any confirmation evidence of any records that were deficient in terms of court cases or any financial instances that were done improperly? Because I couldn't find that in the audit, so I wanted to make sure that that was confirmed with you, because one of the things that we wanted to make sure, we're very grateful for the auditors, because this is a point of the legislative audits, is to find any kind of gaps in the system to make sure that we can reinforce the existing procedures that we had. So that's why I'm glad. I thank people like Inspector General Cumming, people like them who actually want to make sure that we're doing our best and giving us that advice to make sure our officers are running the best way possible.
Now let's stop right there because I have to get into this. Now, what young Xavier just said, and I put this question to Inspector General Isabel Cumming, and I sent her an email in regards to this issue, and this email went out yesterday at 6:05 p.m. because I have to put the show together, so I want to make sure. I asked Isabel, what's going on with this? Let's quote, this is the quote, this is the email to Isabel. I carbon copied the mayor, the mayor's communication person, Xavier Conaway, the state court administrator, Judy Rupp, and the governor. This is what he says, this is what he just said. I thank people like Inspector General Cumming. This is what Xavier Conaway, clerk of the Circuit Court for Baltimore City, just said. And this is an email to the Inspector General Isabel Cumming. So let's get this straight. I thank people like Inspector General Cumming, people like them who actually want to make sure that we're doing our best and giving us that advice to make sure our offices are running the best way possible. Quote from Xavier Conaway, Circuit Court Clerk for Baltimore City, during the Frank Conaway Senior Show Friday, February 27, 2026. Good evening, IG Cumming. Based on the statements made by Clerk Xavier Conaway on the Frank Conaway Senior Show this past Friday, February 27, 2026, I have some questions for you. First question, did you make recommendations Did you make recommendations made by Clerk Xavier Conaway on the Frank Conaway Senior Show this past Friday, February 27, 2026? Let me get to this. Did you make recommendations or give advice to Clerk Conaway or anyone else in the clerk's office in regards to making sure the offices are running the best way possible? And then I asked some other questions. If so, then when was this advice given? Was this advice given outside of an investigation, audit, or review? If not, then when did either the investigation, audit, or review take place? And what were the findings? Also, what specific advice was given to the clerk's office? Thank you for your attention on this matter. Sean D. Sims, host of the Outsiders podcast, and this is the answer given. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to put it up here. I want you all to see it. This is our answer. You could reframe it. Answer's no. Isabel, she didn't even give any salutations, and I mean, it was really, unprofessional, Isabel. Thank you, Sean, for, letting me know this. Yeah. Good afternoon, good morning, no salutations. Quite unprofessional, Isabel. But the answer was no. No, that did not happen. So I got in touch with Nick Cavey, because I have to ask this question, because you have the IG saying she didn't get Xavier Conaway any advice on how to run your office to make it run better. So why is he on radio telling the public that the IG gave him advice? Good morning, Nick. Nick Cavey, he's a communications officer with the state, with the Maryland Judiciary, with the state. And I CC'd those other folks, state senators and House delegates who are with the Department of Legislative Services. They're on that board, I guess. So they got carbon copied to let them know what is going on. This is something else. Good morning, Nick. Clerk Conaway has already commented on the OLA's audit report on February 27, 2026. Nick Conaway sent me an email saying that Clerk Conaway wasn't going to respond to the audit. He sent that to me on the 4th. Or was it the 5th? The 5th. And I initially got in contact with him on February the 19th. I'm just trying to keep track, folks. State Court Administrator Judy Rupp, here it is, March the 5th, 9:06 a.m., Nicholas Cavey. State Court Administrator Judy Rupp and Clerk Xavier Conaway respectfully declined to comment, March 5th. Yet, you can hear the comments. Does he know where he is? I mean, he's too young to have Alzheimer's because he's commenting. This needs to be looked at. Let's continue. You got to hear the rest. Let's continue. Hold on. Here we go.
So I'm glad that they didn't find any of the things that you alleged on the show, but I'm glad that we were able to resolve all the findings by the time the audit release, which was the first time that...
Okay, so he just said, you heard that they resolved all the findings. The Office of Legislative Audit findings. The clerk's office resolved all the findings. Let's look at what the findings were. I have yet to get in touch with, because I'm going over all this, but I'll be getting in touch with the Office of Legislative Audits to find out if the circuit court resolved all the findings. Here are some of the findings. We have conducted a fiscal compliance audit of the Office of the Clerk of Circuit Court for Baltimore City, Maryland for the period beginning October the 16th, 2021 and ending July 15th, 2025. The office performs various functions for the public, including maintaining various legal records, recording certain real estate documents, collecting related fees. Stop there. Collecting fees? You mean like from the mayor's office and from the Baltimore City Council, they collect fees from them. Oh, sidebar, because they collect those fees, they're a third party. They are receiving fees from city agencies. Because of that, Article 10, Section 4 of the city charter means that Isabel Cumming, if there is suspected overcharge fees, the city was paying too much money, it's in her purview. So let me continue. Here's what the audit disclosed. Now, he said everything's fine now. Our audit disclosed that the office did not have adequate procedures in place to ensure the accuracy of recorded criminal case dispositions or to ensure accountability over critical information transmitted to other agencies, such as the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services. According to the judiciary's records, approximately 7,700 criminal cases closed during fiscal year 2025. Wait, okay. I guess that's all solved now. Okay. In addition, our audit disclosed 2 office employees could unilaterally process trust and working fund disbursements without independent review. Wait a minute. Say that again. So they can disperse funds without independent review and approval? So let me get this straight. You got these 2 chuckleheads in the office. They can just disperse money and there's no approval done on it and there's no independent review? Let me read on. Fund disbursements totaled approximately $7.3 million. $7.3 million during our audit period. So $7.3 million went out without independent review and approval. Because of inherent limitations in internal control. Now remember, all this is clear now. All this is taken care of now. Because of inherent limitations in internal control, errors or fraud may nevertheless occur and not be detected. So you're saying that basically there could have been errors and fraud over what? When was this? Since October 16, 2021 and ending July 15, 2025. So all that period, there could have been fraud or errors that could have been taking place and not be detected. So no, guess what? Xavier took care of that. It's all clear. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, y'all. This report includes findings relating to conditions that we consider to be significant deficiencies. Not deficiencies, significant deficiencies. This is getting worse and worse. In the design or operation of internal control that could adversely affect the office's ability to maintain reliable financial records, operate effectively and efficiently, and or comply with applicable laws, rules, and regulations. This is a scathing report. This is and there's more. There's more of this. Brian S. Tannen, legislative auditor, submitted by him. Well, let's finish up and this interview, which, like I said, it went off the rails. It really went off the rails.
Court's office has done, I think, in the history of its audits. I'm going to answer your question on the governor. No, I've not received anything. This is a legislative audit.
So the governor hasn't looked into this, or no one from his office has said anything? Nothing? Well, I don't know what to say. Snap, I guess, did they look into that? Oh, that's right, whistleblowers were put on administrative leave. That's how the state does things. They put you on administrative leave, and then they can you. Then they were fired. Let's continue.
I think we have 3 branches of government. I think that was taught.
No. He thinks we have 3 branches of government. No. Dumbbell. No, we have 3 branches of government. The judiciary, or judicial branch, the legislative and the executive branch. Think? What do you mean think?
Elementary school. So the legislative branch will be responding if they desire on this legislative.
No, the executive branch, which is the governor, should have responded. He should have called you. Something, they should have reached out to you. Something should have been done. But nope, stick your bald head in the sand. Don't say anything, right, Wes? Let's go on.
Okay, well, you asked me a question. First of all, regarding the audit that was done by Brian S. Tannen, he's been there 30 years in the Office of Legislative Audits. There has to be called what's called a forensic audit. He does an audit that looks at your design, implementation, that sort of thing. It's a general overview. So the findings that I have in front of me as well, the findings are stated in an audit. You can go on and look at the audit itself on Office of Legislative Audits website and read it. Anyone can read it themselves. And so in order to get that information that you're speaking of, they have to have a forensic audit.
No, the idiot's trying to talk. You know, when children should just shut up and let adults talk. You should just shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. There should be a forensic audit done. They got red flags up the yin-yang on this office, the clerk's office, and there should be a forensic audit. But we're going to get to more.
I'm going to put both of them on hold because we're going to go into the second hour. So, Sean, just hold on. Yeah, I'm going to put you on hold. Wait a minute.
I was going to hold. I'm going to come back.
We're going to the second hour of the Frank Conaway Senior Anyhow Show. And we have as our guest co-host with us today, the daughter of the founder, Belinda Conaway, and the grandson of the founder, Xavier Conaway. And don't touch that dial, because we'll be right back. And we got many other things to talk about. We're coming back to Sean, and then after Sean, we have Lena, BJ, James, and Ernest in that order. Okay, let's go back to Sean. Sean, you're back on. Okay, so let me continue. The forensic audit needs to be done in a situation in regards to office and the office of being audited. We find design flaws, deficiencies, etc. In order to check every single penny with respect. So that was my question to Xavier. And to the register with Belinda Conaway. Just a couple of questions. First of all, wait a minute, I got a question for you before you get to Belinda. Are you saying that a forensic audit was not done? And no, it wasn't done. Well, I can say we ain't done.
Well, listen. So first of all, do your homework. You got a guest coming on. You know about the audit that was done. Okay, Carlton, you know about that. You know about the audit was done. We talked about it last week. So while you're playing, I don't know if you are stupid or you're playing stupid. You know I'm coming. You know I'm going to ask questions. So why didn't you look and see? All you had to do is go pull it up. Let's go on. Wow.
It was $700,000 that they reviewed disbursements and didn't disclose any.
I saw the $700,000 and what he's talking about, but he does not mention the $7.3 million that went out unaccounted for from 2021 to 2025. So let's go on. I shouldn't say unaccounted for, not approved. That's it. So it wasn't approved. Correction.
Proper transactions. So, no, but my question is, he sounds like he's saying that the audit, it sounds like he's saying, he can correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like he's saying that there should have been a forensic audit done and it wasn't done, wasn't it?
That's exactly what I'm saying. There should have been a forensic audit done when you find all these red flags with deficiencies, significant deficiencies, non-compliance issues. $7.3 million had gone out, and you got to go back and go over the transactions, and then you're getting information about fees that were paid in by the mayor's office and the city council where they were overcharged. Did anybody look at that? Did they go look? This is ridiculous. This is stupid. Okay, this is stupid town. As far as I'm concerned, it's unprofessional, there's cover-ups, this is a joke. This is a clown show. Now I'm going to go on with this clown show because this makes no kind of sense whatsoever of people can operate like this on this clown level. So let's go on.
It sounds to me that he thinks the auditors don't know how to do this.
No, dumb it. I'm getting ready to start cussing. No, dummy. That's not what I was saying. I'm right there on the phone, and they're muting me so you can't hear me. So I'm being muted so you cannot hear me. That is not what I said at all. My issue is with the red flags, that my issue with them is they should have called in a forensic audit. That should have been added to the report. Other than that, what they found, I don't have an issue with what they found, but that should have been done. So saying I have a problem with the auditors, no, I have one issue, and that's a forensic needs to be done. So let's get that straight.
This is the Office of Legislative Audits. They reviewed my office and its disbursements. They looked at our response and the procedures we put in place, which is also in the audit that people can find online, and they approved it, and it satisfied their requirement.
Again, you can say in an audit, look, we're going to let you pass. However, we've got red flags here and here and here and here and here and here. At that point, a forensic should have been called in, especially considering there hasn't been an internal audit for 5 years. Still hasn't been one for 5 years. And considering the issues with the mayor's office and the city council and fees that they were overcharged in paying. That is taxpayers' money. Let's go on.
If there were any additional audit of any kind, that whatever goalposts can be added on by a caller, that they would have said it in there. It's not in there?
No. Don't say that because I'm saying a forensic audit should have been done, that they would have done that. No. See, now, again, stupid. Only stupid people say stuff like this. He's immature. He shouldn't be in the office. He doesn't know what he's doing. And to get on and say that, and there's more that's going to be said as well, and there's legal ramifications, so I can't really get into it too much. I can touch on a little bit, but this one's got a big mouth, and let's listen. Let's continue to listen.
They didn't find any improper transactions. So it sounds like to me that if there's a question about...
They said, no, let's get to that. He said they didn't find any improper transactions. What they said, see, when you're trying to deceive people, and deception with words, you learn how to use words. Somebody, I believe, is giving him the words to say. Because I think he's dumb as a box of hammers. He just likes to talk fast and try to sound smart. But he's an idiot. In addition, our audit disclosed 2 office employees could unilaterally process disbursement $7.3 million. I got into that. So you're saying, well, they didn't find anything wrong. There are issues, serious issues. Let's continue.
What kind of audit, what was done, is because it shouldn't be to you, Christian, because the audit should be the people that did the audit. Well, that is true. Brian Tannen, actually...
No, the questions go to him. Here we go again. Stupid. He's the clerk of the court. You can ask him about the findings of the audit to get comments from him, to get his opinion. He said in an email on March the 5th that he wasn't going to comment. Then here we are on March 27th, this idiot is commenting on it. This is, again, this is what you people put in office? You should be ashamed of yourselves. Let's go on.
You can't come on the show. They can't speak about this matter. They can't go into certain details, but they can't speak on this matter. And in regards to the audit, this is what I'm trying to explain. The audit that is done is a design audit to make sure that things are being done correctly, implemented compliance issues. A forensic audit is a different type of audit. That's not the type of audit the Office of Legislative Audits does. And when they find that there could be issues
then you have a forensic audit. That's how that works. So let's move on. I'm finished with this one, this bubblehead. Now let's move on to Belinda Conaway and my question to her.
Office of Legislative Audits fined $1.1 million at a hearing, at a state hearing at the circuit court last year. Welcome to auditors, and I think the first one, Paris D. Smith. Was Paris D. Smith taken away at a hearing, at a state hearing at the circuit court last year by the sheriff's office and jailed? And the second question is the same office, the Office of Legislative Audits, fined $1.1 million unaccounted for in your office? There's no money unaccounted for in my office.
Okay, really?
Media promotions and a TV show that never aired are all paid for with your tax dollars. The findings raising some serious questions about spending inside Baltimore's Register of Wills office.
Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor details where the money went and why it's raising red flags. Rebecca?
Really?
Yeah, investigators found that the office spent, but couldn't justify spending more than $1 million on promotions and marketing. And now, a state ethics board is taking a closer look.
When imagining the work done inside a public agency handling wills and estates, most people think paperwork and probate, not manicure kits and media deals. But a new state audit paints a troubling picture over how Baltimore's Register of Wills is spending your tax dollars. Investigators finding the office paid more than $1 million on media and promotions, including $200,000 on an informational television show that was never aired, and $1,300 on 500 manicure sets, branded with the office's slogan, "Where there's a will, there's a way." For comparison, auditors looking at 3 similarly sized Register of Wills. One, spending nothing on promotions. Another, $350 on pens. And a third, $2,500 on pens, calendars, and other items.
Apparently, this audit was long overdue.
Taxpayer advocate David Williams weighing in.
This shows that even the most benign agency can waste money and have problems.
Williams noting auditors found no justification for the spending and suspect in some cases the city's competitive bidding process was intentionally skirted.
Okay, so let's hear this again. Nothing was found. It's unaccounted for. What? I gotta repeat this.
Last year by the sheriff's office.
There's no money unaccounted for?
The question is, the same office, the Office of Legislative Audits, fined $1.1 million unaccounted for in your office? There's no money unaccounted for in my office. That one about the first question.
Wow.
I'm at the sheriff's office, so that's a question for the sheriff's office about Paris Smith being taken off by whoever she was taken by the day.
No, don't you tell me who to ask questions to, Belinda Conaway. I'll ask questions to whoever I want to ask questions to. You don't control that. So what you do is just answer the daggone question. You don't control who I ask questions to. You got that? Now here it is. It says, this is a case summary, Smith versus Central Booking and Intake et al. Et al. Includes Belinda Conaway, defendant. File 5/9/2025. Let me show you all this so you can see. I'm not just making it up. I'm showing it again. I've done this how many times? How many times do I have to do this? Okay? You can go look it up in Pacer. I'm not alleging that Paris D. Smith sued Belinda Conaway. It's not an allegation. It is a fact. So for her, well, let's continue. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. That is a fact. And I didn't mention anything about you taking her away. She has allegations that are of kidnapping allegations. And she's suing you in a civil lawsuit. Anyone can pull up the case. Let's go on. Now here we go with Carlton being stupid again. I told you who Paris Smith was weeks ago, Carlton, on your show, and you said that you were going to look her up. You're going to look up the case. So you are full of crap, Carlton. Full of it. Let's go on.
Sheriff's Office and I believe someone else. So she has a civil lawsuit, and in it she alleges that during a hearing, an estate hearing, that she was taken by the sheriff and jailed without a judge knowing about it. Let me address this before you even go down this and try to make any allegations.
I'm not making any allegations, you bubblehead. Monster in a moo-moo and tear in a tutu. I'm not making any, all I'm stating is, this is a case against you. This woman's suing you in a civil court. Federal civil court. This is serious, along with the sheriff. Central Booking and Intake Center. There's some serious allegations in there. Let's go on. No one said that you had the authority. No one said that.
To incarcerate anyone, or more importantly, release them from incarceration. So what?
Yeah, in her case, she was there 3 days. 3 days in jail. Went to an estate hearing. She's the register of wills. 3 days. Husband went to find her. Went to the clerk's office to find his wife. And they told him, this is all in the case, it's all going to come out, that she wasn't there. So there's more. And hopefully I'm going to have Paris D. Smith on The Outsiders on my show. I've been in communications with her, so we see if we can get that together. She's not going to be able to say everything because of the case. But I'm going to see if I can get her on. So let's continue.
You are calling here with this foolishness.
Calling here with this foolishness? Hey, Belinda, who the hell do you think you are? Who do you think you are, woman? You going to tell me what to call in and talk about? Are you out of your cotton-picking mind? Now, I can't talk like that. I'm being a professional. This is my podcast, so I can say what I want. So I'm being a professional on this phone call. And I'm being muted out because I was responding to her. But the coward, hey, Carlton, you got a yellow streak down your back 2 miles long and a 1/4 mile wide. You're a coward. You kept muting me. I was responding to her, and you can't hear it. If you were listening to the show, maybe the 200 people who were listening, I mean the few hundred people who were listening, so you couldn't hear me. And people who heard it said, Sean, she's saying all this stuff to you. I know you weren't going to let her mouth off and all that. I said I was responding to her in a professional way, but you couldn't hear me because the coward, and you're a coward, Carlton the coward. The cowardly pimp, like the cowardly lion from the Wizard of Oz. That's what I'm going to call you, the cowardly pimp. Let's go.
Asking me about someone being taken away, that is not under my authority. We do paperwork in my office. Do you understand that?
And now she lipping up, what? Do you understand that? You know what? I understand something. I understand that you're in the hot seat, Belinda Conaway. I understand that on this radio interview, you said things that you shouldn't have said. I understand that. I understand that Paris D. Smith is suing your butt. I understand that. I understand that you keep running your mouth. Keep popping off that mouth. I heard you was a smart tail. Desiree told me all about you. She said, yeah, she's a smart mouth. She's a little smart tail. Like to pop off at the mouth. Like to run that mouth. Keep running that mouth, Belinda. You keep running that mouth the way you're running it. Because Paris D. Smith, I don't know. We got issues. that are going on, and you made some threats, and I'm going to get to that. Threats, because you like to run your mouth and threaten people. But you threatened the wrong person, Belinda. The wrong person. That man behind me right there, that's my father. See, he was an Army Ranger, and that's his flag because he passed away. And my grandfather was in World War II. Reverend Pastor Joseph Brown Sr., of Man of Bible Baptist Church, the founder of Man of Bible Baptist Church, the founder of Grace Memorial Hour, which I was a part of running and managing. And you think you're going to come after one of God's children and threaten one of God's children? And that's what you're going to do? Okay, let me continue. Because that trust and believe is being dealt with properly. Oh yeah, anybody can bring a lawsuit. Anybody can bring a lawsuit. Oh, anybody. Paris D. Smith was just sitting up one day and just decided out of the clear blue sky, you know what, I think I'm just going to bring a lawsuit against Belinda Conaway. For no reason at all. Just no reason at all. I just feel like doing it. Listen to these dumbbells. This woman's allegations and claims should be read. The media is ignoring it. You have they're ignoring it completely. Media blackout cover-up of this situation and more. But that's okay. Let's continue listening to this babbling. First of all, boy, you should shut up. Children should shut up when adults are talking. So now this child is chiming in, and he should shut up while adults are talking. That's what I was taught. So let's continue this cluster F.
The question you are asking, it seems to me that it ought to be asked to the sheriff. Have you asked the sheriff that? Who are you alleging that Belinda Conaway?
Shut up, Belinda. Look, here's information from the case. Belinda Conaway, again, this is all public information. Proof of service. This summons for Belinda Conaway was received by me on 2/13/2026. So that's 14 days prior to this. She received a summons regarding the case. Okay, and she's popping off at the mouth. There you go. We got register of wills. No, there's more, because you people need to know what's going on. I've got, and this is an email. Public information. Belinda K. Conaway to Paris Smith, the woman who's suing her. Dated July 17th, 2023. Good morning, Ms. Smith. Please send the name of the employee in the governor's office who advised you, the governor's office, wait a second, wait, stop. Hold it. 2023, Wes Moore was the governor, right? Okay, so, the governor's, an email, and wait a minute, the governor's office, who advised you to request an in-person meeting with the register of wills so that they may be included in all correspondence. So let me get this straight, the governor's office is included in the correspondences? Wow. Your concerns have been addressed in the Orphans Court and Circuit Court. Oh, now you've got the Circuit Court, Xavier Conaway, her son. You got Wes Moore, and it's included in this. I have to show, freeze frame it, do what you will. This is the email. This is public information. Okay. Wow. According to Circuit Court records, a writ of body attachment was issued for Paris D. Smith, York County, PA on July 11, 2023. I tried to find that. I couldn't find it. Does it exist? Because I couldn't find this writ of body attachment. I'll look for it. In Pacer, which is nationwide. Nothing. So I'm going to see what's going on with that. Please note that my office has no authority over the courts. Additionally, the misspelling of Ms. Thomas' name in the will was addressed Circuit Court, July 20, 2023. Belinda K. Conaway. And there's other information in there. I don't have time to go over all of it, but it's quite a handful. So I want to get to a little section here, and I want you all to hear this, because there's a lot going on. Man, this town and this state is something else. I mean, let me see if I can get this and pull this up. Okay. It is something else. You got something going on. Here we go. Okay, here it is.
Something important, but let me just say, in reference to my audit, have they found anything improper? Audit would have been on. Channel 45.
Let's go back to Channel 45.
There could be corruption tied to this. People need to see who the vendors are, where the money went, if there are any ties within the Register of Wills to make sure that someone in this agency hasn't been profiting off of this.
The audit also raising concerns over employee oversight, finding evidence one employee with a six-figure salary was repeatedly absent from work, and another accidentally paid $5,000 after they left the job.
This can't go unanswered. There has to be responsibility put on someone, and really it starts at the top.
In a letter, the city's Register of Wills, Belinda Conaway, a longtime city official, calling each of the allegations unsubstantiated, but adding the recommendations are appreciated and will be taken into consideration. In response, auditors stressing their findings are backed by facts.
You can't spend $1 million on promotions and media and $200,000 on a TV show and not have some repercussions.
While no legal action is being taken, auditors did refer some findings to the state's Ethics Commission. Conaway is also up for re-election next year. Williams warning excessive spending could soon cost her at the ballot box.
I think this is going to weigh heavily on voters as they decide the next Register of Wills.
Now today I reached out to Conaway's office asking why she believes voters should continue to trust her to look over their tax dollars, but as
Please.
of this time tonight, I have not heard back. In Baltimore City, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Please. Okay, yeah, right. I'm going to trust you, Belinda. Please. To go to a state hearing and you don't know if the sheriff's going to snatch you away. You don't know what's going on. Her son's the circuit court clerk. I'm going to be continuing this because there's more information to go over. And I got to check with legal because certain things were said. Threats were made by Belinda Conaway against yours truly in this interview. Things were said by the clerk about a pending lawsuit situation and a termination situation. And I got to check with legal to see if we can talk about this the next podcast because we're in the middle of some things right now. But I'm going to get to the next story. And that has to do with Minnesota and Tim Walz. This is a Stephen Gardner. I like him on YouTube. I like Stephen Gardner's show. And this was, this is Wes Moore. This is where Wes Moore, I'm predicting that where Tim Walz is right now, where Wes Moore is going to be in the near future.
Either way, it did not look good. In fact, it didn't get any better. Congresswoman Nancy Mace grilled him, Jim Jordan. I want to show you, in fact, what Jim Jordan said because he caught him in lie after lie after lie and called him to the carpet and absolutely humiliated him.
The payments are restarted. Why didn't you tell the truth about why you restarted the payments?
Well, Chairman, we did tell you, and Feeding Our Future grew because of the pandemic, and
I didn't ask that question. I said, why didn't you tell the truth about why you restarted the payments? The payments stopped, because there were concerns, obviously, it wouldn't stop the payments. Then they restarted a month later. What was the reason for restarting the payments?
My understanding was the agency believed that the court had required them to make those payments.
And that was false, wasn't it? You repeated that. You said that, didn't you? You said the reason you restarted is because the court ordered you to do so. Is that right?
I don't believe that is settled yet, to the best of my knowledge.
Well, I think it is. because the court did something that I don't know if I've ever seen it. They issued a statement saying you were wrong in what you were saying. This is from the court. It says, Feeding Our Future versus Minnesota Department of Education, correcting reports and statements by Governor Tim Walz concerning orders issued by the court. Here's what the judge says. Governor Tim Walz told the media that the Minnesota Department of Education attempted in payments to FOF because of possible fraud, but that Judge Guthman ordered payments to continue in April 2021. Next sentence. That is false. So you said something wasn't true. He further states this, Judge Guthman, the court says this, Judge Guthman never ordered the Department of Education to resume payments to Feeding Our Future in April 2021 or at any other time. So I want to know, why didn't you tell the truth?
Congressman, the attorneys at the Department of Education interpreted that differently. Both of those judges are no longer on the bench, and I think that interpretation...
The very first sentence, the first 7 words. This is not some unnamed source talking to the New York Times. This is not some anonymous source talking to whatever your Minnesota Star Tribune or whatever your paper is. This is the court speaking. First sentence, first 7 words. Due to inaccurate statements by the governor, Ramsey County District Court judge has issued and authorized this following news release. That's pretty straightforward. So the court's lying?
I can't tell you, Congressman, but the interpretation...
Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying, because you can't say the court ordered you to restart the payments, and then the court says we didn't order you to restart the payments. So either you're lying or the court's lying. And
Now, who's lying? Speaking of lying, is Isabel Cumming lying? Is she lying? Because the clerk of the court said that Isabel Cumming gave him advice to help the office run better. That's what he said. He said it on radio. He said it gave that information to the public. And when asked if she said that, if she gave the clerk's office, the clerk or the clerk's office advice in running his office, she said no. Who's lying? Is Isabel Cumming lying? Did she give advice to Xavier Conaway and his office and how to run the office? She is a city agency. His office is a state agency. It is. So why is she sticking her nose into the books? This is what Xavier Conaway said. So allegedly, she's sticking her nose, this allegation is coming from the clerk. But she's saying no. N-O period. When asked that question, so who's lying? Either the clerk of the court is lying, or Isabel Cumming, the Inspector General, is lying. How do we find that out? Who knows? Let's continue with Jim Jordan, because we got enough lying going on here in Maryland. Let's listen to the Minnesota lying.
Just ask you, which one is it?
I just simply know what the attorneys at the agency believed that it was a misinterpretation, and I would note that those
Could it
payments...
be you were trying to hide behind the court, Governor? Could that maybe be the reason why you issued the statements you did and why the court had to do something you never see done before? They issue a press statement saying you're wrong, the governor is wrong. His statement is, their words, not mine, false. Could that be the reason?
That was not the interpretation of the attorneys, and you know, court work, you can appeal those, Congressman, as you well know. I'm sure
they're all about politics, Governor.
No, it's about taking care of our people, which Minnesota does better than anyone else.
$3 million, the behavior intervention program went from $3 million to $400 million in 5 years. The housing stabilization went from $2.6 million to $104 million.
One program went from $3 million to $400 million.
Wow, that is. I tell you what, Jim Jordan, DOJ, whoever, they need to come here to Maryland, because you got people who are going on radio lying about audits, about getting advice from inspector generals. The state with Wes Moore, $5.5 billion. Whew. SNAP program, ARPA. There's a lot going on here. Let's get to the next story.
In Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
Tonight, more calls for accountability and federal oversight amid an alleged SNAP scandal at the Department of Human Services, first reported by Spotlight on Maryland. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Maxine Stryker. While several state delegates call for action, the governor is denying the controversy.
Multiple whistleblowers told Spotlight on Maryland that 2 senior state officials allegedly hatched a plan to maintain a high error rate on food stamp payments by not correcting the errors, hoping to delay $240 million in federal penalties. Former employees, including a senior official at the Department of Human Services, have accused 2 of their superiors at DHS of the plan to buy enough time for the penalties to potentially be canceled after President Donald Trump left office.
Those folks, senior officials that work in state government, should be there to protect taxpayers. They should be there to do the right thing. And I'm really proud of those whistleblowers who saw a scheme going on before their eyes, and they confronted their leadership.
The former senior official told Spotlight on Maryland they informed DHS they were going to tell the Inspector General about the alleged corruption. About a month later, they say they were placed on administrative leave and terminated. They believe as an act of retaliation. In multiple statements to Spotlight on Maryland, neither DHS nor the governor's office denied the allegations until Friday, when Governor Moore denied the claims in a sit-down with Fox 45's
Here we go.
Frost.
With the issue of SNAP funding and the whistleblower allegations that top officials within DHS were knowingly trying to keep these errors in place and potentially putting that on the backs of taxpayers, did you know that was happening?
Well, no, and also I want to be clear that that's not the case.
So the whistleblower allegations are false.
No, what we have actually uncovered the fact that the allegations that were being made, those things were not happening.
Wow, that is a bad look. Now you guys are getting rid of whistleblowers when they see something being done that's wrong, then you get rid of them. I'm sure those whistleblowers have hired an attorney or attorneys, and which should be done, and I'm sure they're going to take care of business on that. Let's continue.
The governor says an investigation has been done and the public will see the findings. The Department of Human Services spokesperson Ben Schneider adding Friday, quote, the notion that DHS employees were directed to do anything other than continue efforts to drive down the SNAP payment error rate is patently false. However, Spotlight on Maryland did not report that DHS employees were directed to maintain a high SNAP payment.
Yeah, so why is he saying that? What is he talking about? The whistleblowers are just, oh no, they don't have anything else to do. They just want to go ahead and risk losing their jobs because they have nothing else to do. It's just making a mistake. They don't know what they're talking about.
Error rate.
This is wrong. It's not just morally wrong, but in some cases it could potentially be criminally wrong. And we wonder, Governor Wes Moore, what will be enough to get you to fire the Secretary of Human Services?
In response, the Maryland Freedom Caucus has issued 3 formal letters. One to the governor, calling for the removal of DHS Secretary Rafael Lopez. A letter to U.S. Department of
Rafael.
Secretary Brooke Rollins, requesting federal oversight of Maryland's SNAP administration.
Yeah, there we go. Stop that. Federal oversight of SNAP. The funds that come into the state, the funds that go into Circuit Court, Baltimore City, a state agency, and all the other circuit courts, the federal money. So, DOJ, you need to come in and you need to take a look about what's going on. And I want to, this guy, Noraki, I want to get in touch with him. I like what he's saying. I want to cover this just for a few minutes, but I like what this guy is saying.
Legislation. Thank you so much for being here. Delegate Noraki, if passed, this plan would create an Inspector General Advisory Board that appoints the Inspector General and then conducts annual performance evaluations. Why, in your opinion, is this necessary?
Is she serious? Why is it necessary? I know you have to ask the question, but wow. Okay, let's get the answer.
Well, Maxine, I think it's necessary because we've had...
And I like Maxine. Maxine, she did a story with me before. So I like Maxine. Maxine's cool, but we know why.
A series of very bad audits over the past year or two in Maryland, one of which in particular got me thinking about this legislation. In the fall last year, we had an audit that came back and said the State Highway Administration knowingly mischarged over $300 million. An audit doesn't allow you to get to the bottom of that, an investigator does, and that's why...
There you go. Now, did you hear that, Xavier? Well, a forensic audit would help get to the bottom of it, but a regular audit, you need an investigation. That comes with a forensic audit. You need an investigation to uncover any corruption or fiscal malfeasance that may be happening or overcharge fees that the city paid for years. You need an investigator to go in to look at that. You need to go to the mayor's office and the city council and say, okay, we need to find out with these fees you were paying the circuit court, and then look at the circuit court fees and what they were charging, and to see if they match up, if they were being overcharged. You need an investigator. Investigator uses forensic audits. Let me continue.
I think we need an independent investigator in
Yes.
Maryland.
Yeah, Delegate Nowacki, you say the plan is modeled after successful oversight offices in neighboring Pennsylvania and Virginia. What changes have you noticed from those states after implementing it?
Yeah, well, what you tend to see when you have inspectors general, whether in Pennsylvania or Maryland, or frankly right here in our local jurisdictions like Montgomery County in Maryland, is you see lots of government money saved. In Maryland, for instance, in Montgomery County last year, the Inspector General saved the taxpayers over $18 million from their education budget. So I think that we could weed out lots of waste, fraud, and abuse inside of the system. That doesn't even necessarily mean that there's wrongdoing going there, although in some cases there may be wrongdoing.
Exactly.
And the plan also comes as a recent interpretation of Maryland's public records law from the Attorney General draws some sharp pushback from government watchdogs, warning in a new letter that the guidance could severely limit their ability to investigate fraud. Did those recent comments draw you to take this action?
They have certainly been a part of my consideration. It's not the only part of my consideration. I think overall this is good legislation even without this recent controversy. More transparency and accountability are always a good thing. We should not be taking actions to limit investigators, like in the case of Baltimore City, like Investigator Cumming. So she does a great job. She's guided me through this legislation along with some others. We need to empower those folks, not do things to put handcuffs on them.
And Delegate Nowacki, while we have you, as reported at the top of the hour, the Department of Human Services Secretary Rafael Lopez is resigning. Nobody knows that more than you. You're in state government, obviously. Your thoughts about that? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think it's about time. This has taken way too long. I mean, we've had a series of very bad circumstances, including a child dying in his care in the state of Maryland. We've had a DUI situation. It is exactly the right time for the Secretary to resign. Frankly, should have resigned months
hit the
ago.
bricks.
But the Secretary's situation, Kai, is exactly why we need an Office of an Inspector General. We should know definitively what he knew and what others knew about that child dying in the state's care, and that could help us get to the bottom of it.
We need a state, I agree with Delegate Ryan Nowacki, we need a state IG. And don't play any favoritism either. If you got some friends and they may be involved in something, so you don't look into it. Because you have people who are friends of yours. So you don't look into certain things. We don't want that. No, we want somebody, we want a state IG for oversight with these state agencies that are run amok. And I want to finish out with this. People are giving their opinions about the situation. I'm going to finish with this. Sometimes in life, just like Solomon said, there's a time to live, there's a time to die, there's a time to celebrate, there's a time of season change, there's a time for peace, and there's a time for war to kick ass. I don't even call this a war. I call this the IRGC running in caves, getting pounded. They have no Navy. The Navy's gone. I wish I had the footage of the torpedo blowing up the ship. It hasn't been done since 1945, World War II, or a torpedo taking out a ship. But that's what this is, a pounding. This is a pound. And the Iranians are attacking neighbors. Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, other places, all just attacking Saudi Arabia. Bases all over with other countries, the United States bases. I think they attacked like about 12 other countries. I think Turkey has been added to the list. A whole bunch of other countries they're attacking. So I don't know. I see the Prince of Persia. This is from the Bible. The prophet Daniel spoke of him. He's in charge of that area. Yes, he's called the Prince of Persia. He's not a man. Okay, he's the power. Fallen angel. Prince of Persia. I believe he's having the Iranians just throwing the bombs, attacking everybody like crazy. And I believe he's pulling people in for a Gog-Magog scenario. I've seen this Gog-Magog scenario, Ezekiel 38-39 situation, multiple times throughout my life. And here we go again. Here we go again. Another possible Gog-Magog situation where Russia comes down with a whole bunch of countries, including Iran, Persia's name, to attack Israel. But they get slaughtered. 85% of them are wiped out on the mountain of Israel. Done. Don't be stupid. I know you guys were going to do it in 82. With that base in Lebanon, oh, I know all about that. But that didn't happen. But this could be that scenario. Let me play this story. Let me play what's going on. And keep you all up to date.
Some breaking news. Iran thought they could hold the world hostage. They thought they could choke off 20% of the global oil supply and bring America to its knees. Well, they thought wrong. President Trump has deployed Operation Epic Fury. It's now in day 5, and what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz right now is nothing short of a masterclass in American dominance. While Lloyd's of London ran scared and canceled war risk coverage, Trump didn't blink. He stepped up where 3 centuries of British maritime power stepped back. The mullahs in Tehran, they're about to learn what happens when you threaten American interests. Is this the moment that the Iran-China axis finally meets its match? Now, let me tell you exactly why this matters to you and your family. The Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, let's go ahead.
That's a given.
There we go.
And Trump now offering U.S. insurance of naval escorts for commercial ships. You can see some of the video here from the traffic lanes. This is February 27th on the left and March 3rd on the right. So that is actual real-time traffic. The strait is the only route for transporting gas from Qatar outward. So you can see now, this is March 3rd. This is the visual, and you can see the gathering of all the ships that are standing there waiting to move. That was March 3rd.
See, there's a lot going on. That's Next News Network, Quality Network. Next News Network, you can check out the rest of the story, because World War III scenario, a lot of countries are being drawn in, but I mean, World War III, I mean, it's just us beating the crap out of Iran. How would that turn? Stranger things have happened. Study your history. Anyway, that's been another episode of The Outsiders. I'm Sean Sims, your host, and I'm going to continue looking into all of this. And there are some serious issues that are being dealt with, some threats that have been made. We are taking them seriously from an elected official. I may be speaking on it the next show, so we have to find out exactly what's going on as well. But God bless, take care, and I'm out.